Aloha, Monroe Murdoch, broker, owner of Love Hawaii Realty and Love Hawaii Villas, and co-founder of HILSTRA, the Hawaii Legal Short-Term Rental Alliance. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. I've been doing some updates relative to Hawaii tourism, travel, and vacation planning updates. This is basically one of those, but because it's Tuesday today, and because I don't have really any script or notes, I'm just going to be speaking off the cuff. We're going to call this Talk Story Tuesday. Something we say here in Hawaii is talk story. It's kind of a local saying here for just, shooting the breeze, talking, kind of kicking back, hanging out. So we're gonna do a little bit of that today. I hope it's helpful. I hope it's also able to provide all of you who watch some of these videos with the updates you're looking for, and also just some insight and perspective. I'd like to take today, a little time to just share some things that are going on and share my perspective as one who's kind of here in the trenches, so to speak, day in and day out in Hawaii and working within the vacation rental industry and real estate and just all that. So with that said, please do like and subscribe to these videos if you feel that the information is beneficial, and share those with others who are interested in coming to Hawaii. So the big deal right now, obviously, is just the recent announcement by the Governor of Hawaii, Governor David Ige, that yet once again they're going to postpone the resuming of visitor travel to Hawaii. And of course, people can come here anytime, but if you come here, you are subject to a very strict 14-day mandatory quarantine. And so it's not really like you can just come here, travel freely, and enjoy a vacation or time in Hawaii. A while ago, they had announced a August 1st date, and that's what we were tracking towards in one of my last videos. It's been a while since I've done an update, actually, because there really wasn't much to report, honestly, until the last couple of days. So August 1st was the date we were all looking towards as a day that you could test out of COVID, test negative, and come to Hawaii. And like anything else, the past many months, we've just been waiting for updates from the government, from the officials. How will that work? Many questions. So my heart goes out to all of you who are trying to come here, planning to travel, trying to figure it out, asking those questions. We all had the same questions. The announcement for the August 1st deal, it really created more questions than answers. And I don't need to rehash all that. I mean, that's essentially water under the bridge at this point. However, it's still relevant to our current situation because now it's just pushing it out another month. But yet what's really kind of amazing to me is that in the updates that they're sharing this, they really didn't shed any new light on much of anything at all. So even though many weeks had transpired since they announced the August 1st plan, and all these weeks have gone by, we're awaiting updates and specifics and all of that, and then they come and have a new announcement and a new news conference speaking to the extension, and I'll get into the reasonings and kind of some of that here in a minute. And I was not necessarily surprised, but it's just amazing to observe that even after all these weeks have gone by, they literally didn't have any update. They don't have any update about how the testing is supposed to work, how people are supposed to do it, where do they go to get it done. There was a couple comments made about some of it, but really nothing of merit. So really they're kicking the can down the road another month, but without any clear plan. We're just going to find ourselves potentially in the same situation unless they can get it together and really organize an effective game plan on it. And so that's what we're hoping for. Now, I want to get something, say something here at this point. Maybe I should have said it first thing, but we are in favor of safely reopening Hawaii. We're not we don't want to put Hawaii at risk. We don't want to cause people to get sick and to die and to have COVID spike in Hawaii. It's not that at all. It's what I'm hoping to accomplish with my perspective and sharing it, and with others too, is to really take a step back and look at it from a higher perspective, especially in light of the things that they're talking about. It's easy to just say, oh yeah, we need to keep Hawaii shut down and no one should be able to come here and we need to keep Hawaii safe and all these kind of things. And I don't disagree with the fact that we need to keep Hawaii safe. The issue, one of the issues that we're facing and looking at though, is simply this. We are dealing with a situation where COVID is not going away. The spiking and things happening in the mainland may not go away. That might be happening for a while. We're in a situation where it is becoming increasingly dire for Hawaii families, Hawaii businesses, Hawaii residents. Sure, there's the COVID risk, but what about all the other risks that they're not talking about, including extremely high unemployment, extremely high risk factors of businesses to lose their businesses forever, extremely high risk factor for owners of real property in Hawaii to see their properties go back to the bank if they're not able to generate sufficient rental revenue. Plus, what about all these local families that are out of work because of the shutdowns going on? What are they supposed to do? Where are they supposed to work? How are they supposed to provide for their families? We're looking at a mass exodus potentially from Hawaii if they can't figure out how to get it open. And so if they're going to keep Hawaii shut down indefinitely, which I don't think is the intent, you can only survive so long. None of us have endless, unlimited reserves of money. They keep deferring the moratorium on evictions too, which that helps the tenants, but it certainly doesn't help the property owners. And it's a multifaceted situation. And so what I'm struggling to understand, and what I want to just put out there, is that when you have a news conference and you talk about some of your main reasons for extending this another month, being that there's been some higher case counts in Hawaii and there's spiking going on in the mainland. Well, first of all, they talk about case counts, but they don't talk about hospitalizations, and they don't talk about how many people are actually in ICUs, how many people are actually sick. And surprisingly, shockingly, when the director of the Department of Health was asked, like, how many people are actually sick in the hospital, he didn't even know the number. How crazy is that? It's just shocking that he can tell you all the new case counts and everything, but he can't even tell you how many people are sick in the hospital. And so what's happening is they're using these fear-based tactics to get everyone afraid and scared that it's not safe, it's dangerous, and then they're talking about all of these outbreak areas in the mainland as if it's relevant, and it has a small relevancy, but it shouldn't really have any relevancy if we're talking about you can't even come here unless you get a negative COVID test. So if you can't even come here unless you get a negative COVID test, why does it matter if there's cases spiking here and there and whatnot? This is not going away. We can't base the reopening of Hawaii on other states getting their act together. We simply can't. We cannot give them the power. We can't give the power of Hawaii's future to all the other states, and we need to wait until they get it together and they bring the cases down, and then maybe we can reopen. No, but that's essentially what they're saying and doing by indicating that they're not comfortable opening Hawaii because there's outbreaks. This could be going on for a long time. And so if they're unable to reopen Hawaii just because there's outbreaks in other areas, then this is a much, much bigger problem and situation than any of us could have anticipated. So in light of the fact that COVID is not going away, it could have continued spikes, they need to be focused solely on figuring out the plan to safely bring people back to Hawaii so they can resume the tourism side of Hawaii's economy. That needs to be the emphasis, how they can do it, how they can do the testing, get the relationship set up so that people can come here if they want to come here, and do it in a way that doesn't put our local population at unnecessary risk. But there's always going to be a certain level of risk with everything. That's just life. The only way to eliminate risk in life is just go lock ourselves in a closet and don't do anything. Life is about assuming a certain level of risk to live. That's just life. And so I'm struggling with understanding the focus and the motives of everything that's going on, because I see an impending destruction of the Hawaii economy much worse than it is right now. And I am an optimist, I really am, but it's very difficult when these factors are at play. There is nothing there to support and create Hawaii's economy. Without the visitor travel, that whole industry is decimated. And so all of you that want to come to Hawaii, I want you to come, we want you to come, we want travel to be able to safely resume, but how many companies can continue to just survive with excessive expenses and no revenue? How many families can continue to just stay here with still very high expenses and no income? And how is the tourism industry in Hawaii going to survive this long extended downturn with no clear plan in place? And so even come September 1st, I'm not expecting a full boom of tourism in Hawaii. It's going to be likely a trickle and slowly growing from there. But I feel that I feel for the elected officials, because they do have a difficult task before them. But just to speak candidly with you, I don't appreciate them using basis for their decisions that is really doesn't make any sense. It's not founded in any kind of legitimate reasoning when they're not presenting the true reality of things. We are one of the safest places in the country, but they're making it seem like we're all going to die if we reopen Hawaii to tourism, which is simply not the case. And they're using these fear tactics to keep everyone scared from doing it, and it doesn't have to be that way. There can be a path forward. So I have some real concerns about it. I'm hoping they can figure it out, and it's difficult when there's so many things outside of our control. And then on top of that, there's been local oppression of our ability to even rent our vacation rental properties to local families. Like, even though people here can come and go and do what they want to do, all of the legal short-term vacation rental properties on Oahu are shut down, and they have been from the very beginning of the pandemic, despite the fact that Maui County, Hawaii County, and Kauai County, they can all rent to local families, to inter-island travelers, and all of these things. So that is one of our reasons for forming HILSTRA, the Hawaii Legal Short-Term Rental Alliance, which is comprised of more than 60 Hawaii real estate licensed property managers of legal short-term rentals throughout the entire state of Hawaii. We collectively represent over 1,500 property owners. We collectively employ dozens and dozens and dozens of local people and families and independent contractors. We are responsible for more than $20 million in gross rents. And this is just scratching the surface. I mean, once we truly quantify what we're doing, and once we truly attract many, if not all, of the legal, of the licensed managers of short-term rentals, it will be the quantification of what we represent. And we're organizing in this manner because we want to represent our rights and protect those rights and interests. And it's really disheartening and sad to see these hardworking, owners, and also families and employees and all these people that are suffering needlessly when local families, they can't really travel out of the country or travel to the mainland because of the risk factors. Many are not traveling. Many would love to do a staycation. And so we're hopeful that we can at least get that part going, which can help bolster some of the local economy and generate some tax revenue for the state and the county, give families an option to stay in different properties. And so there's just a lot at risk. There's a lot at play right now. And it's so unfortunate to just see all these empty properties and no ability for people to come here. Again, I'm not wanting or meaning to be insensitive to the dangers and the risks of the local population. I know some people will probably lambast me or criticize this or say I'm horrible because I want to reopen tourism to Hawaii. I don't really care what other people think about how I feel and what my perspective is. I'm entitled to my opinion. I'm entitled to my own perspective, just as other people are, and I respect everyone's right to have their own perspective on things. Naturally, we all have our own, bias and our own interests and everything. But at the same time, you just can't keep Hawaii closed. Like, if you're going to keep Hawaii closed forever to tourism, then there's a major dismantling of an entire industry that needs to happen. And there's a massive exodus and migration of people from Hawaii that need to leave Hawaii and go to the mainland or go to other locales, because this state cannot support its populace and its current size and status without that aspect. That's just the reality. And there's not enough funds in the government, federal, state, local, or otherwise, to prop it up and continue. So the state seems to be having the blinders on as far as the budget deficits and everything they're facing, and unable to really get the economy going again. So this is a multifaceted, very complicated matter, and it's not like we're alone. I mean, many states and many places are facing similar things, but because we're so isolated, we can somewhat control that flow. I think, there's a lot of things that, come the end of this month in July, people are going to not stop getting that $600 federal stimulus money, or however that works for those who are unemployed. And so there's going to be mounting local pressure from the families that are now going to be struggling even more financially. And, like for our company, we haven't had any revenue, virtually any revenue, since the beginning of the pandemic. And yet we still have significant expense. And we're not alone. Many companies are in the same boat. There have been many, many companies here in Hawaii that have closed permanently. And some of these companies have been around for decades. And there are many, many more companies at severe high risk. And in the next 30, 60, 90 days, we're likely to see dozens and dozens of other companies shut their doors forever. And this is really sad to see, and we're seeing it all across the country. I think what's really hard about it is that I think there has been a better path forward and a better way, but our elected officials have not been able to ascertain what that is. So I know I'm kind of bashing a lot in this video, but you have to understand, I'm very frustrated. We've all worked so hard to get where we are. We've all worked so hard to build what we have. And as a business owner and as someone who's been in this industry for about 11 years now, and started just literally out of the garage kind of a thing, just a family owned thing, and building it and growing it and really striving to provide something of value. We're still very much a small company, but companies like ours, from small ones to bigger ones that manage hundreds of properties, we're all at severe risk of just being completely decimated by these decisions that are being made. So just know that we're working very hard on all fronts that we can to control what we can, to influence what we can, to try to be a positive influence for what is going on. And again, we strive to work collaboratively with the elected officials, and it is unfortunate that much of the time they don't really care what we have to say. They don't really care what we think. They have made their decisions already, but we continue to strive to advocate, at the government and advocacy levels, and legally when necessary too, because we have rights that are being trampled upon. We have rights that are not being acknowledged, and in this country, as we have opportunity to protect our rights and to strive to ensure that our rights are being upheld. And so all we can do at this point is continue to work on it, continue to hope and pray that things can improve and get better, that somehow people that want to come back to Hawaii can, and that there will be a clear path for that. I wish I could say I have a high level of confidence that come September 1st, it's going to go great and everyone can come back to Hawaii. I do not have that level of confidence. How could I? There's simply no reassurance or no guarantee that this is going to work out great come September 1st. I don't like saying that. I want people to start coming back September 1st. So I would just say, book your travel anytime after September 1st. Do it knowing that it's very much dependent upon the government here determining how that can be possible, and also determinant on you getting your hands on a qualified test. Every single person in your family, every child, everyone would have to test negative before coming to Hawaii. That's kind of what we know right now. So continue to watch. Sorry this is long and rambling and a bit of a soapbox. That's what happens when I have no script. But it is a Talk Story Tuesday. So I appreciate you hanging in there with me, and I just want you to know that for those crazy people who watch this whole video or scan to the end and are hearing me talking right now, we are heavily invested in in what we're doing. We are committed. We are working very hard. We are sacrificing a lot, to continue to work on this and to strive to make it happen for ourselves, for our company, for our clients, for our employees, for their families. And that's all we can do. We will fight to the bitter end, to do it. And the hope is that we will be able to pull through and come out the other side and continue to welcome people and start rebuilding the Hawaii economy and bringing people back here to enjoy this beautiful place in a safe manner is all we can hope for. And we sincerely hope and pray for everyone out there that you can be safe, that you can be smart, that you can be happy, that you can be mentally, emotionally, and spiritually strong and fulfilled and healthy in all those different ways, and to not allow fear to rule your life, but to live life with faith, with optimism, with hope, and with collaboration and patience and love and forgiveness and all of those things which we need so much today in our society. So with that, I'll sign off for now. Please reach out if you have any questions. If you have an interest in making any future bookings or checking on availability, pricing, and all that, you can reach out to us. I can put contact information in the description below for our Director of Reservations, Amber Schoenberg. And just know that we are here when the time comes to welcome you back to Hawaii. And we welcome you guys with open arms. And we hope that you don't give up on Hawaii. Hang in there. Keep the faith, do what you got to do, get your vacations in wherever you can get them in, but definitely keep saving the money, setting a little bit of aside for your future trip to Hawaii, and we will do our best to give you the best deals possible so that when you come back here, it can be an awesome experience and that you can really enjoy some time here, and we hope that that can happen sooner rather than later. So with that, aloha, take care, and thank you for watching. Bye.